Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm welcoming myself back to the channel. It's been a really long time. I am just catching up with the channel myself. Yeah, it's been a while, so I am here to update and to push on with my channel. There's a lot of new subscribers to the channel, and a lot of you have gotten to know me with me talking about my asshole and asshole surgery, and that's awesome. I am glad, and I'm glad to hear from you. And for those of you who have written me in the past year, I am so sorry that I am just getting back to you with all of that because my email broke and I was not being told that emails were coming in my primary account. So we are working on fixing that link, and I think I have managed to respond to everyone that has written to me, and thank you for sharing with me everything that you all have shared with me. It means a lot that so many people have been able to feel safe enough to talk to me about, their experience with the surgery and their own body, and I am happy to share my experience back. Obviously, it's been 2 years, just over 2 years since I've had the surgery, and I can officially tell you that I'm fine. It worked. My life has improved. It is better than it was before the surgery, at least in the pooping department. I have healed up completely. I did not have any complications. I think that some things that maybe I've been saying in the comments that have not been put on this channel that I would like to be on the channel is the fact that it took a long time for me to get to that point in the first year. And I think that's a problem that I encountered. Was I had these expectations that like at a certain point, like 3 months out, I was going to be good to go. So by the time 6 months rolled around and I was still swelling, after like difficult bowel movements and then bleeding again. It kind of felt like I still had a fissure, and technically I probably did and still probably do get them. The difference is that now if I do get a small fissure, it heals, and it heals like within 24 hours, and I am not spending days in pain or on the bed assed up with like a baggie full of ice in my crack. Sometimes by the end of the day, I'm fine. I have forgotten that it even happened. So it worked. But at 6 months out, it didn't feel that way. 6 months, I was still having symptoms of having surgery then, but I didn't think so. So I thought maybe it didn't work. And it was about at 8 months I started to realize that like it was happening less. And then at 10 months was officially when I realized like, oh, I'm not having issues at all anymore. I wasn't bleeding anymore. I wasn't swelling. And by a year out, I felt like it worked. It definitely worked. So those of you who are having surgery, you're still in the midst of healing, give yourself time, talk to your surgeons and your doctors if you have any concerns about complications, but be patient with your healing, be patient with yourself, because 10 months, guys, 10 months till I could say it was worth it and that it worked. So keep that in mind. That's 2 years ago. Where do I go from here? Most of you have known me now from these videos about me talking about that, but that was 2 years behind. So I am going to be moving on to other materials. I do have some asshole videos to talk about. I still have more butt stuff to talk about. Let's just get to it. So with that, I do have videos. I have promised some people that I will share some of my recipes of food that I really like to eat and that I have fed my friends. Some of them have their own gardens, so they can cook these things themselves with fresh produce, which is amazing. So I will probably be putting some recipe videos up here. Here's some other things that have happened to me while I have been away from the channel. I have gone back to school. For a long time, I've been thinking about becoming a therapist because I'm so involved in self-development, self-change, and rebuilding and healing from the inside out. And I like the work. I like doing it. I like being able to change things for myself, because then I can maybe change the world around me once I change the world within myself. And I really, really like that. So I have been studying psychology, but the thing is I don't necessarily want to go into psychology where I feel like I'm doing that somehow to make me feel better. And I think in order to do that, I really need to have dug really deep into myself and really worked hard on myself to be able to support people in the way they need to be supported without it being about me. I think that's really key and crucial for a good therapist to be able to make that separation. And I am working so hard on that right now, and I'm doing some of the hardest work in my life, because another thing that happened to me while I was away is I had my third major depressive episode ever in my lifetime. I've only had 2 before, maybe 2.5. There's one part in my life that I was pretty young. I was in 7th grade, so I could have been. So this might be my 3rd, 4th. It's definitely my 3rd, maybe my 4th. It happened again, and it was really powerful for me to experience this. Why? Because with all the tools I've built up in my toolbox, to be able to go into a state of major depression with the tools and to witness and observe and to learn data about what it was like, what is going on, I was able to break apart this whole mechanism that is my depression and see how it works, which gives me so much data to possibly make really impactful change and shift things for myself on an incredibly deep level that has to be reached in order to make any kind of massive change like that. And I know it's possible because I know people that have done it, and I want it too. I want to do it and get that before I become a therapist. So I feel like there's this timeline where I'm going through school, but I want to get this worked out before I get to that point, because that separation, you need it. And I know there's a lot of therapists that don't do that. That's why so many people go to therapists and they're like, yeah, I went to therapy and I hated it, or it was bad. And then they tell me their stories about it, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds awful. I would not have liked that experience either. So it's really, really important that I don't want to be a bad therapist. And so it's really hard for me to say with comment, I'm studying psychology. I am, and I hope that I find that this is something that I can offer the world and be helpful in. Because of all this, because of what I experienced this past year, terms of major depression, pain, feelings of betrayal and grief and such, I learned a lot, and I'm gonna be sharing it again on this channel. And it's kind of like talking about my metaphorical asshole. It's still a very dark, hidden part of myself, and kind of the shadow side of our mind is like the dark side of ourselves that we don't talk about. And a lot of stuff happens back there every day, and we never talk about it, just like our assholes. And it breaks, and shit can go wrong, and shit can break down. Maybe shit's not the best word for that. And it affects us every day if we don't learn to talk about it and learn to hear other people talk about it. So I'm going to be talking about it. So yeah, let's just see where things go. That's what I'm going to do. There's a lot going on in the world, so any way we can start learning how to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of each other better and look out for each other better, that's all good in my book. Alright guys, that's it for now. Look for upcoming videos, and until then, I'm going to outro. I'm gotta get used to doing this again. Where the hell is the camera on this anyway? I can't remember. Where's the camera?